Good evening, guys. Ken at Tortoise Capital. This is the start of a new Thursday night podcast. Just have open to the crowd for Q&A. It's any subscribers or current or past students of any of our courses. This is really just to kind of reconnect and provide some useful information that's timely, we hope. Welcome to Christine. You get my undivided attention tonight. You said you didn't have any particular questions, just wanted to start checking things out. So, with that in
Right,
mind,
right.
what I thought I would do is I wanted to cover, uh, three different websites in our ecosystem here that I think you will find helpful. The first one is tortoisecapital.net. That's really home base, sort of my, I guess, calling card to the world. We're going to go take a look at that in a second. The
Okay.
YouTube channel, youtube.com, KenLongTortoise, one giant phrase, no spaces. That has thousands of videos. There's thousands of free videos, like the daily trading plans and podcasts and a bunch of lessons. There's some that are, I think the word is hidden, but it's where if you have the link, you can go to it, but you have to know what the link is, or I have to send you the link. And that's where I put a lot of the, coaching sessions and specialty lessons that are part of the different courses I teach. That's another alternate storage site that has access. So between them, there's probably 5,000 or 6,000 videos from the last 25 years that are there. Exhausting just to think about it. You can sign up for an email alert anytime I post a new video in the free area. It'll send you an alert and a link. And so if you want to listen to the nightly podcasts on your time, then that's a very handy way to do that. What I would recommend, excuse me, is I would make a personal playlist on YouTube. So if there's anything that I say in any of those videos, you can just create that little playlist of the, your favorites, and that's a nice way to have a personally curated set of lessons. That's pretty handy. I have a subscription site at patreon.com where subscribers to receive the daily reports and various lessons subscribe. There's also an extensive free area with freebies on there. There's also so there's a free there's subscription levels at different monthly subscription, different price points depending on what level of support you want to get from the reports. Um, and then there's also a shop that has just a listing of, probably 20 different books, short courses, handbooks and things of that nature that are, priced under $100 that are like technical white papers and things like that. You may find interesting.
Okay, great.
Then
I'm
there's
on Patreon, so I'll check that out.
then there's also, let's see, there was one of those. Thinking of more. Oh, yeah, that's right. So I have a site, the educational site for the longer courses is a Rizuku. That's the name of the learning management system, and the site there is called courses .owlgroup.us. And what that is becoming is sort of the ecosystem for a collection of traders that grew up in the Van Tharp orbit. I taught at the Tharp Institute for about 30 years. Started off as a student and ended up becoming an instructor there. And so a lot of my students are Tharp super traders in their own right. And a number of them have been trading my systems very successfully, like Phil and Griff. And what I've been doing to try to keep the flame alive is sort of created this educational conglomerate at this site. And so I've given them all their own little space. So we have like the owl group is me, the tortoise, and then like Phil and Griff and Bill Scheit and Jeff Picasso, Sundeep and Mark. And then I've got a few others that are hosting courses for me. And collectively, that thing is we think of ourselves as the owl group. It's like a loose affiliation of independent traders and teachers, but who share a common background in Tharp's psychology and systems thinking from my part. And a lot of the super traders to complete their program were using variations of my systems. And so there's sort of a natural alignment. And we just call it collectively the OWL group. and that's where the longer courses are stored at, like the coaching program, the swing and day trading courses, and things like that. Okay, so that's sort of the background. I thought what I'd do is go to the, let's see, go to Tortoise Capital. So this is that homepage. This is tortoisecapital.net. And I just want to work through this real quick. Here's some links to some of our OWL group courses. Like I think you said you were in with Phil and Griff. So there's the Kata 2. There's my foundations course, which is really 4 courses in one: tools, systems, and 2 different psychology courses. I teach a top level creativity course that's based on a combination of my work and the creativity science of Professor Angus Fletcher from Ohio State. What we do is it's a long course, 30 weeks, 1 night a week. And we go through exercises that are designed to dramatically increase our creativity. The principles of that are the courses that I'm teaching with the U.S. Army for raising the creativity of military leaders. Uses the same techniques, the same material from Fletcher, but that's adapted for military guys. But I've taken the core competencies, added my own trading techniques and short stories, and we've built a Creativity 202 course that, in my view, combines the best of my work, Dr. Tharp's, and Professor Fletcher's. I have a day swing and hybrid trading courses. One of our guys, Danny, is a professional options trader. He was also a super trader. He's a hedge fund manager in Israel. He teaches a options course that is geared to apply options to my mechanical swing trades, and it's pretty effective. This link here, our books, field guides, and home study courses, is going to take us to the shop at Patreon. So we're going to go there in a second, but I just wanted to finish up on this website first. I implemented last year a small group coaching program. I didn't like doing one-on-one coaching because to pay for my time, I have to charge a premium for that, and it's only one person. So what we did in 2024 was we created these quarterly. We started every quarter with a new cohort. So cohort 1, 3 months later, 2 and 3 and 4, and there was anywhere from 3 to 6 guys in each one. And we would meet weekly, and these were guys that were working on their own systems, adapting my work to their circumstances. So it was not me teaching a workshop, but it was helping them acquire the skills to adapt the system to their particular needs. It's basically the same model that I followed with Phil and Griff to help them refine the Kata 2 and then the PRX system with Bill Scheit and some other longer term systems. So what we were doing was meeting weekly, and it was anywhere from 60 minutes to 90 minutes, and we recorded all of those. So, each little cohort has a lesson in that in the OWL group coaching course on Rizuku. And so each week there's a line entry for each week's recorded lessons. And what I do is make the recordings of all of those cohorts available to everybody from every other cohort. And we talk about it, we crosstalk. And if a guy can't make it on Tuesday, but he can come Wednesday, I have opened that up. And what we've got when all is said and done is about 300 hours of live coaching sessions where you can actually watch the guys go from sort of primitive initial systems development all the way through to bulletproof application of personalized systems. Pretty powerful stuff. Last weekend, I decided to adapt this a little bit because we had guys going kind of their own way in some of the cohorts, and it wasn't necessarily a good fit. So what I've adapted to is now on Mondays, we're going to have all the simulations guys, the back testers, and automating trading systems, and tinkering around with their own indicators, or trying different platforms and things like that. So I love these guys. I think of them as the wireheads. So Mondays is kind of systems automators and robotic traders. Tuesday, right now, as I'm preserving by invitation only, I've got a couple very advanced professional traders in that are slinging a lot of money around, and one of them is especially using pretty complex options systems, which I don't teach and I don't use. But what we're doing is kind of fusing together my sense of short-term directionality and patterns in the S&P, and then he's converting that high probability of a large directional move into an options trade using his own skill set. And so that synergy allows us to sort of help him become more systematic and pattern based in his options. He's a pro hedge fund manager. And then another gentleman in that Tuesday is partnering with him. He just sold his business, is looking to maybe get into that line of work. So that's one that I sort of just preserve for them. You can actually see their recordings in the cohort too, but I want to kind of preserve that conversational inside baseball group with them, and so I will. I want to try to protect them. That's short-term SPY and the ES contract trading for the S&P. Wednesday, I think of as that's systems people who are developing or adapting the rule sets of various strategies, whether it's day trading only or swing trading only or hybrid trading, which we think of as a combination of day and swing, where each one of those systems is helping provide information and protection to the other time frame. So Wednesdays is really for that kind of discussion about understanding the system and patterns and some of the techniques and process, a lot of psychology in that one as well. That one that's kind of really helpful for the non-programmers, if I can say it that way. That would be Wednesday. Thursday is this one where this is kind of open Q&A, and I'll tolerate any and all questions. So what we're doing now going forward is saying, trying to align guys and gals with the thematic cohort and stay with it. Everybody will continue to get all of those that growing list of hours and recordings. I'm recruiting some interns to help us go through this and turn these into concise note sheets and timestamps to sort of make that more accessible, because 300 hours might be a little daunting. So we're working on taking this gold mine of goodies and turning it into a much more concise and useful product. But in some cases, it's just good to be able to listen along and hear what other people are talking about, and you get some insights in that way. And that's one of the main reasons for doing small group coaching, is that you get a synergy and a natural alignments. And we've found ways to do accountability partners with people in the cohorts, and it helps kind of offset the loneliness of the individual trader. Sundays, every other Sunday, is for the internationals, and that's this is from 9 a.m. to, we tried 10 a.m., but it's usually 11 by the time we get them talking. And that's Central Time. And that's really just open for any kinds of discussions. All of these other ones are going now, starting this week from 8 to 9 Central Time, now that soccer season is on. And my intention is to go right from the 9 o'clock, the ending, right into a short review of that day's daily report and trading plan for the day ahead. And that's the piece that gets posted to the YouTube channel, and then also sent out through the Patreon email distribution system. So that's sort of what the small group coaching program is like. I would say, I should also add that folks that are doing active coaching are asking live questions and coming in and giving their weekly spot report. I'm giving them directed feedback and directed coaching advice on for the week ahead. That active coaching runs $29.97 for the year. And then I implemented about 5 or 6 months ago an over-the-shoulder coaching program, which was for $1,000 a year, sort of a passive observation deck, and it gives you access to all the videos and everything, but it just doesn't include the active coaching. And that's sort of a way to sample the work that we're doing at a low cost way to determine, hey, where does it resonate? And before I commit to a longer term coaching program, if that's on your mind. And then my plan was that if somebody went through that a couple months and they said, oh, I know what it is that I want to do, and I want to trade up to an active coaching, we would just figure out how to prorate that and just kind of sort it out from there. To try to make that a less stressful learning environment by doing it that way. So that's the over the shoulder coaching, and then also the active coaching. You could almost think of Thursdays as sort of a free shot at doing that, to cover maybe some basics and things. Okay, so that's this link right here on that homepage takes you to the details of that coaching program. The hours of operation for the coaching that I just described was here. Alternate Sundays for the internationals, Monday for the wireheads, Tuesday preserved for the SPY and ES traders, Wednesday for small group coaching and adapting the personal systems to your own needs. Thursday is this session. This is the first one of those, the open Q&A. And then following that, Monday through Thursday, usually takes me about 15 minutes to go through the nightly report. And that's what gets posted at, excuse me, that's what gets posted at YouTube and also on Patreon. This link right here is the link to the room that you're in. So if you ever, it's always the same for the nightly podcast or for any of the coaching sessions, it's always that link. So if you lose that for whatever reason, and you just go to tortoisecapital.net, then you can always find that link. The student showcase, I'm a career educator for the Army, among other things. I teach in some doctoral and master's programs in areas that I'm interested in. And for 30 years, I taught I love teaching. My belief is that if someone claims to be a teacher, you don't really need to tell me about your teaching philosophy and all that. Just show me your students, and I'll be able to figure out kind of what kind of a teacher you are. The same thing on coaching. Just show me your players, and I'll sort of figure out what your coaching is all about. And so these things here are a set of briefings that the guys who are now in the OWL group did as part of we have an annual research weekend. And each one of those it's like a trading research weekend where these guys produce, a 20 or 30-minute report that has 2 or more peer reviewers that try to help them improve that product. And then they come in and they kind of lay out a system and the rules and the back testing and the insights and what did we learn by doing that deep dive into that particular research. And then each one of these is one of those recordings. So Danny, who's that Israeli hedge fund manager, gives a summary of his options strategies and course and the TC 2000 administrative support bundle that he's put together. We just recently handed that off to Mark Holland and Sundeep Gupta to manage, and they're adding to that TC 2000 package. It saves an awful lot of time and has some pretty slick attributes in it. Jeff Boccaccio gives an overview in here of what became his PRX system that he taught at VTI at the Van Tharp Institute, and he's continuing to offer. This was the place where he kind of worked that out, and you can see the basics of that whole idea. Ken H has become an amazing fractal swing trader, by which we mean he's got standard patterns and he swing trades them on different time frames with a common set of symbols and with just standard patterns. He's a full-time business executive in the software industry, and he's got a big team of guys, and he does that, for a living. But this was the summary of his evolution to become an independent trader, to support his lifestyle and to harmonize with his other professional duties and interests. And his journey from novice trader to a hero of the nation is absolutely extraordinary. It's a remarkable testimony to a systematic approach to learning, and it's an exemplar for what we're trying to do. Luke Crockford is a accountant, father of 7 down in Australia, full-time CPA. And he traded every night for 2 years live using essentially the Kata 2 strategy. But we were working on 5-minute charts, and he traded Cliff Natural Resources and then the Aussie dollar and the Kiwi. And he just hammered out a beautiful set of intraday procedures and rules that he's now turning into a standalone robotic trading system with some programmers. And I'm trying to persuade him to do a course in that, but he's looking to get out of the accounting business and letting the robot work for him. And he's well along the process. In fact, he was part of the active coaching cohort 1, and you can actually see him reporting on the work that he's doing. This was his annual report to me when it kind of showed the end result of a year-long worth of research. This is Bill Scheit, and he put together that crypto swing trading system that was similar to the crypto trading course where he partnered with Jeff. Glenn Osborne is a full-time professional musician in church music, and this was the work that he did to transition from being a full-time musician into a full-time trader. And this was the process that he went through midlife with a brand new baby, no stress there whatsoever, and kind of put that into work. Phil and Wu and Griff Cooper, I had them working for me as a couple interns a few years ago. And what I had them do was go through multiple years of the nightly podcast and the weekend reports and different courses where I had long-winded videos. And what they did was they built for each one of those episodes or lessons a modified Cornell note sheet, which is a 1-page note sheet that summarizes an hour or 2 hours worth of lessons. And it features at the top a standard layout where it talks about the homework and the preconditions and the setup, a list of all the keywords and concepts on the side that are in our glossary, a note sheet in the center in which there is a visual representation of the major concepts and the mind maps, and then there's connections to markets, systems theory, and psychology, and then a set of action notes at the bottom. So what for their use. So what they did was created out of all of those hundreds of hours, essentially a slide deck of concise note sheets. By doing so, they really hammered out their understanding of the courseware, and that allowed them to develop the applied Kata 2 challenge and the systems development course. Because what we did during the nightly sessions in the coaching with those guys was refined the Kata 2 strategy and beat Griff into submission to trade a couple symbols every night with all the signals until he got it to the point where it had been refined into the rule set that they're now teaching. Well, we also documented the process whereby we went from a collection of notes and some guidance and some thinking and systems testing and turning that into some bulletproof procedures. And that's what the basis of the applied system development course has become. So that actually becomes a partnered course. One of them is how in general to develop a system either from scratch or by adapting rules and using the actual Kata 2 lessons and system as the living example. And so at the end of that paired course, you have instructionals on how to develop a system in general. And you also have a workable trading system that I think of as the baseline pattern that everybody should master to understand in any time frame how it is that we trade. So those two testimonies right there from Phil and Griff was their lessons learned of their multiple year learning journey, and then what they learned by actually using modified Cornell note sheets and then creating that reference book for them. Tom Hardison is a long-term client and friend who's a leadership consultant, and what he has put together, his takeaway from the creativity course and his briefing at the annual research weekend was more on the psychology of building your team of collaborators, whether it's a single organization or a mutual supporting accountability partner stuff. He talks about the human side of assembling teams. And in many ways, what you are trying to do as a trader is to organize the internal parts of your own psychology and bring them all together into harmony so that you have an R&D part, an accountant part, a trading part, a judgment part, a risk manager part. So all of those internal pieces and parts of your own psychology, you can think of as building a team of those so that there's mutual support. So you're not in conflict with yourself. There are a couple other presentations and links that I made to my my curriculum vitae and whatnot. There's Joe G's testimony was he actually had partnered with Tom Hardison in an accountability session, and he talks in there about what it is like to have an accountability partner, 2 or 3 voluntary guys that come together and get things done. This is the link to the YouTube channel. This one is one of the playlists on that YouTube channel that we're going to go look at in a minute, that I was just monkeying around with YouTube Shorts and put together about 100 short 1-minute lessons, sort of like a greatest hits kind of thing that is actually a pretty good. I should probably sell that as a home study course, but it's sort of the essence of an idea in 1 minute, one idea, 1 minute, and moving on. This one, this is a recording from a Sunday, November 27th, 2022, in which I went through every piece of my 20-page daily report and explained what each and every part of that is and what kind of information is available, because the daily report is kind of a big document. And what it is a collection of pieces and parts that support different kinds of trading strategies. So this explanation diagram plus this video narration of it is a way to become aware of the research that's coming out on a daily and weekly basis. And the trick is not to try to master every little piece. But if this part of that report and this part were what I need, how do I pull those together so that I can build my own little personalized trading plan? Because you may not be interested in long-term, short-term, and swing and hybrid and 50 and all that other stuff. All I need is, how do I go to the buffet and pull just those pieces that I need to create my own little trading plan? So that's what those pieces do. So all of those are freely available and there for you. Here's some more free lessons learned. This whole piece right here summarizes the work that I've been doing for the last 3 or 4 years with the Army to use storytelling and intuition and creativity to improve the decision making of our Army leaders, from lieutenant up to general. And this is a 2-minute testimonial about how we're doing that in the field with special forces units. Some of my students are special forces officers, and after they leave our college, they go back out to the field, and they took those ideas with them, and they're using these in the field with Army Special Forces. This video is the 7-minute explanation of why story thinking actually works to develop new ways of thinking and behaving that are especially well suited for chaotic markets. And then these 3 little short videos are further explanations of what we're doing with Army Special Forces. It turns out that if you were to look at the psychology and the requirements to be a good military leader in times of chaos on the battlefield, and then you were to draw the circle of what it takes to be a good trader, that the areas of overlap are enormous. There's probably a 90 to 95% overlap between what it takes to be a good combat leader for decision making and to be a good trader. And so it turns out that when I teach for the Army, I'm actually learning things to teach to traders. And when I'm teaching traders, I'm learning things to be able to teach to Army officers. These free background materials are extremely important in my view to study. I would really pay attention to these 2 videos here. The Trading Ecosystem and Backgrounds lays out a cognitive map of all the principles and practices and systems that we use. Like we use you've probably seen this with Phil and Griff, is the plan, prepare, execute, and assess process. And that is sort of a top level procedure that I follow for every trade, every system, every trading plan, regardless of time dimension. So there's a certain amount of planning that I have to do that identifies targets and opportunities. And then I drill down into the prep phase, in which I am preparing individual trade frames and contingency planning for each and every trade. And every one of those is like a little flashcard, like a football coach's playbook. And that becomes the actionable plan to go into execution. And then when I go into execution, when the market's open, I'm working on battle drills and training and instantaneous response and risk management. I'm definitely in the action mode because I've already done all the thinking in the planning and the prep phase. And I'm only trading those things that I am well prepared and well rehearsed for. And if it's not something that's on that list, I don't trade it, can't even see it. And then the final piece is the assessment phase, in which we are going to look back at what we plan to do, what we prepared to do, what we actually did, and why. And so we're going to take a daily after action review and look into things that we want to sustain and to improve. I should actually put this: sustain and improve, and then things we're going to act on. And so we study our planning, our prep, our execution, and even the assessment itself. We're saying, did I actually assess the way that I claimed I'm going to assess? We find the things that we want to reinforce, to things we want to improve on. And then when we've made that total list, we pick a couple things off the actionable list in order to improve tomorrow. We make it manageable and prioritized. And that little system of daily assessment, so you get 5 of those if you traded all 5 days, and then that rolls into doing a weekly review, which is nice for the guys in the coaching program because they, on their night, that's what they're coming into briefing of the trading they did and the lessons that they learned. And then we have some protocols for monthly and quarterly. And then the annual assessment ends up becoming the kinds of things that guys briefed at the research weekend. The day trading and swing trading syllabus really just breaks out in detail all of the topics that go into my structured courses. And I taught those for about 20 years at the Tharp Institute. And that's an amalgamation of everything that we've ever taught on day trading and swing trading. It goes well beyond just the Kata 2, but it turns out that there's a wealth of goodness in there and robust systems that can be adapted. And gives a broad frame of reference. Some personal narratives. These are 10 different traders coming from different walks of life with different goals, and the way each one of them was able to take our work and turn it into a personal system or a personal narrative, and made it their own. And that's really what the coaching program is intended to do. The 10 characteristics of successful traders using our techniques. This really is talking about, what do I think are the characteristics of the trader that resonates with what we're teaching. It's not for everybody. And there's an infinite number of ways to trade, but folks that are successful with our systems, I have seen these characteristics lead to their robust advantage. This is now glossary version 4, and that really just lists all the technical terms and the nomenclature and the language that we use to describe the things that we're doing. These two videos at the end, the plan and prepare process and the daily trading plan for execution, I wrote those probably 20 years ago. And they continue to this day to be the way that I prepare every single day and the way that I trade and the way I organize my trading day. Like there's 13 30-minute segments in the US market. And the first 30 minutes behave in a certain characteristic way. And the last 30 minutes behave in a certain characteristic way that's quite different than the rest of the day. There's a 90-minute segment around lunchtime that behaves in a characteristic way. And then there's 4 30-minute segments between the open and lunch, and there's 4 30-minute segments from lunch to the close. And I look for trading in those areas for the patterns to unfold and become what they are. And I like the 30-minute window because each one of those becomes a way for me to say, was I following my rules? What did the market do? What's it going to do in the next one? And there's enough time to be able to trade each of those 4-hour sessions in a particular way. There's ways to trade the quietude of the lunchtime. It takes a slightly different approach. The waves are smaller, the signals are fainter, but you can often take advantage of early movers and leaders in the lunchtime to be well postured after a directional morning system and then a stabilized lunchtime. It's not unusual to see that continue in the afternoon or to reverse in the afternoon. And so this gives us a way to organize our approach, and it gives us places to look and things to follow up on in a systematic way. And so those 2 short videos, they're about 15 minutes each, really condenses my entire, well, how do you trade? That's how I trade, and that's how I prepare to trade. These links down here basically are links to the foundations course, the creativity, the options course, and the Patreon site and whatnot. And there's just some background information. So that's what I wanted to say is on that homepage. There's a boatload of good free material and reference material that is well suited for your attention. I just noticed Jesse joined. I wanted to see if you had any questions before I drive on to. I want to show the YouTube channel and the Patreon site, unless there's a specific thing that you need.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I came a little late.
No problem.
This is all on tortoisecapital.net.
Yeah, tortoisecapital.net. This is the homepage, and there's dozens of hours of good background material that allow you to, at your own pace, sort of figure out what it is we're doing, what it looks like in the long run. I'm interested in long-term development as opposed to short-term fireworks, although we do have some courses for that with Phil and Griff, I think, are the best way to get started right away with our material. But this material here at tortoisecapital.net gives you a broader frame of reference for all the things that we're doing. And I am recording this session, and I'll make that available to you probably maybe on this page. I'll get you the link so you can look at it at your own leisure. In fact, what I would say is go subscribe for free to the YouTube channel, the YouTube/KenLongTortoise, and I will post the video there, and then you would get an alert that I posted a video, and you can watch it at your leisure. Okay. All right.
Okay,
so
thank you.
yeah, so the next thing I want to go look at the youtube.com. KenLongTortoise is the name of the channel. The first thing I would just say is if you go to the shorts, click that. So this is probably 100 or so, I think. Each one of these is a little 1-minute mini lesson, one idea, quickly expressed, over in a hurry, that shows different features of the way we trade. There's a lot of individual trading case studies, and it lasts a minute. Like this one, this was a sniper trade of the day. EWW is the symbol. It was from July 17th, 2023. It netted 4R. I can tell by inspection that this was a COTA 2, and there was a second entry. There was a warning alert here, and then a final exit up in here. So we risked the red box, we captured the green box, and the net for that was 4R. And that would talk you through how we found it, how we prepared it, how we traded it, and how that works. So the shorts is actually a nice little collection of lessons. There's some conceptual pieces in there as well, like how we deal with beliefs. And here's one on plan, prepare, execute, and assess over in here. So the shorts are a nice way to get after some ideas. I would then say, if you click on the videos link, this should give you, in chronological sequence, daily trading plans and some coaching sessions that I've made public because I thought there were some goodies in there for people to review. So I uploaded one just today that was a presentation my research partners and I did at the Association for Business Simulation and Experiential Learning. And as I mentioned to Christine, there's a very strong connection and overlap between preparing military officers for combat and for preparing traders to trade. And this presentation is a update of our 4-year research program in how we use storytelling to develop creativity, and the complexity toolkit that we use to be well prepared to work in times of chaos and uncertainty. So it's a pretty good briefing, and I hang it in there. Not technically trading, but it has a lot to do with the psychology of trading. There's this one down here, for example, that is a sample of one of our coaching. That's cohort 1, and we were talking about how to use AI in this particular lesson extract. So you'll see a mix of, in the public space, daily trading plans and selected coaching strategies. I would look at the if you look at the playlists, you'll see that these are organized. I've got thousands of videos, and these are organized into different categories. There's some discussions of books, short summaries of market setups, coaching coaching sessions, bite-sized short videos, just a ton of things. If you sign up for at this for free, every time I drop a public video, you'll get an alert, and it will include the link to the video. So that's probably the easiest way to get alerted when I drop a new material. So that's what I want to say about the YouTube channel. The final thing I want to talk about here is, got a few minutes left, is the patreon.com site is my subscription site. It includes a bunch of free material as well, and you can sign up for different levels of subscription support. So depending on whether you're doing a lot of active day trading or just mechanical swing trading, or more like the longer term swing or even position trading, there's different levels of support that you can sign up for, which I can talk to you about later if that's of interest. But what I've done here is I've linked to the shop, and what I've been doing is producing a lot of short, focused reference material that are available pretty inexpensively. Like there's a this little program here, the Path to Trading Resilience, turns out to be a version of the resilience course that I built for my military officers to help them handle the stress of combat. This is a guided home study course that helps you build emotional resilience and emotional strength to withstand the rigors of trading. That's based on the principles of what I teach the Army guys. This foundations course has an annotated Q&A section and study guide. It's about 75 pages of the historical Q&A sessions that we did over about a 10-year period with the foundations course. This is a very nice handbook for notes in it. You don't even have to take the foundations course to really benefit from a lot of the good ideas that are in there. The Mechanical Swing Trading Field Guide is a concise summary of all of the mechanical swing system patterns and a ton of case studies that show how to do that in a rules-based system. There's some other shorter books like Problem Solving with Narrative Intelligence, U.S. Army Style, is an applied handbook to learn how to use story thinking to solve problems of any type, whether it's trading or otherwise. Managing Information, that book, The Applied AI Prompt Engineering, is a book I wrote for the Army to teach officers how to apply prompt engineering for leveraging artificial intelligence. I'm the proponent in our school for leading the way on developing that as an elective and to get this disseminated throughout the Army. The Swing Trading Q&A Masterclass for $9.97 is a steal. That's a very deep dive into the world of swing trading, and it's 15 years worth of Q&A sessions for guys that were trying to apply the mechanical swing trade patterns. For folks that are using AI to conduct any kind of research, this little ebook teaches you how to be a research supervisor of AI to make it do what you want it to do. To improve your writing, I wrote a Army Writing Improvement Workbook. That's what we've adopted in our college to help our officers learn to write better. This one, the Glossary 4.0, is about 60 or 70 pages of definitions of the language that we use. This is a nice one on, it was a deep dive on swing trading with our most modern use of new patterns. It goes beyond mechanical swing trading. And so just a ton of things that are available. I've been using AI quite a bit to develop professional competence in that area for the Army. And I've been writing books with my trusted AI writing assistant. And so I try to spin off those things that I think might be of interest. Like there's one how to become data literate. Let's see what else is in there. I think that's pretty much it. So that's what's at the Patreon site. There's also on that Patreon site, there's an archive that goes back about 10 years of all the weekend reports and about 5 years of the daily reports that we've produced each and every night. So if guys were ever interested in doing that kind of research, you could go back and take a look at the report for the previous day to see what were the reports showing about how to frame the trade that happened the next day that was an extraordinary event. And it's a nice way to see how the report can be used to help you be prepared for market conditions. So those, in a nutshell, are the three websites in the ecosystem, if I can call it that, that I wanted to aware you of. And the fact that there's quite a lot of good free material for you to explore, no hurry, to see if this is the kind of material that works for you, and places you can go to get more information. So tortoisecapital.net is the homepage. The youtube.com KenLongTortoise, no space, gets you access to those publicly released videos, and you can get an alert there. And then patreon.com / KenLong is the subscription site that I use to just manage monthly memberships. I have a lot of folks that are kind of on the educational side of the of our program, where they're learning systems and workshops and things like that. And then there's the daily and weekend reports that I look at as the operational trading. That's actual live trading plans and reference materials. The guys who have taken the courses and are applying them, that's how they get their daily and weekend reports. Some of those guys have developed information independence by getting the TC 2000 bundle or the TradeStation bundle, or there's some guys that have coded the bundle in TradingView. So I look at all of those as good ways to develop your own independence of signals, so you're not relying just on my daily emails to be prepared. I really advocate people developing their own independent sources of information and dashboarding that's tuned to your own personal structure, so that you're not relying on me to be the data source. I'm 67 years old. I successfully recovered from a minor heart attack a couple years ago. But what you want to be is resilient and robust and independent for the years ahead. And the best way to do that is to have your own ecosystem of producing things. I personally like TC 2000. I find the charts to be beautiful and elegant and easy to work with, and it supports my style of trading in every time frame, which features, trading a certain set of symbols on different time frames. And I like the way TC 2000 allows me to flip around through different time frames very effectively, and you'll get a sense of that working with Phil and Griff in the Kata 2 program. So that's everything I wanted to say about background for the websites. And my intention for future Thursdays is to point people at this recording so that I don't have to say that stuff again, but then allow you to kind of come in with particular questions that you'd like to hear answered. If there are questions that you have, I would recommend that you send me an email, a day ahead of time or that day, so that I can maybe have some prepared material for you if you would find that helpful. So, but otherwise, you can just come in and ask questions, and I'll give you my best hour-long answer on things. So that's everything I wanted to say for tonight, and turn it over to you if there's any other questions or comments before we call it a night. Over.
Well, it sounds like you've given us a lot of material to review. So that's the homework.
Fair enough. Jesse, any comments? Questions?
No, just I'll look at all of those things. I took your foundation course, and it was great. Lot of information. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna look out those things too.
Okay. Yeah. The whole point, take your time as long as it takes, whatever I can do to help you on your way. It'd be my pleasure to help you. No hurries and no worries. All right. That's everything I got. I will send you guys specifically links to tonight's video. I'm going to hang it on the YouTube channel too, but this way you'll get the link tonight, and then we'll maybe see you next Thursday, whatever. Okay. All right. Take good care, guys, and we will see you on down the road.